A representative from the South African Union of Students, Lukhanyo Daweti. He is joining us by Skype tonight. Lukhanyo, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. So we are speaking to you, I think, for the second time this week. How much progress, how much movement has there been in your conversations with government and universities on this issue?
Thank you very much, and thanks for having us this afternoon. As you might be aware, last week we convened a special National Executive Committee meeting with all the SRC in the country here in Pretoria to discuss these matters, the 15 demands that we submitted. In that particular session, we would have hoped that the minister was going to honor our invitation, but he couldn't. Even this weekend, because after that session, Student Representative Council went to their respective campuses as per the resolution to go and shut down, and that was implemented to almost 17 universities nationwide. But I must say that we have been having severe difficulties with the Department of Higher Education because on a continuous basis, they do not want to come to the table with us and come and discuss these matters that we're raising.
One could ask then, Lukhanyo, what would be the point of further discussions, because the Higher Education Department and universities have so far said that writing off historic debt and allowing everyone who owes universities money, as well as making free education available for all poor and missing middle students at this point is financially not viable. It's just not possible. So what would be the point of further meetings?
I hear that point that you are raising. Of course, it might be a valid point, but you must remember what we are demanding from the government. It's what was duly promised to us. So we're not demanding something that is not there. And on top of that, since we have realized that the minister and his capacity as the Minister of Higher Education does not have a capacity to deal with these matters, today's meeting has resolved to march to the union buildings in the coming week, and we will ensure that we take this fight to the president of the state, because if we are to argue that there is no feasibility in terms of funds, so what are we saying to the poor students who are coming from the poor and the working class? Are we saying that their futures must be shattered?
There's also the view, Lukhanyo, that these protests this year over fees have so far not had the traction that you'd hoped for. You were just referencing earlier in our conversation that you've got about 17 universities that are on board with the plans. Initially, the plan was for demonstrations at all 26 institutions of higher learning. Why has that not happened?
You would remember that majority of the universities did not finish their academic program last year. So universities such as Univen, they were finishing their academic year this week. Universities such as TUT, they were also still finishing their academic program. So to mention the few, some universities are still finishing their academic year. And you must remember, our approach in terms of our protest is not the normal one, which perhaps we are used to say that, because one thing that we have made sure is to say we condemn any kind of vandalism or destruction in terms of dealing with the university infrastructure. We don't want that. We want a peaceful protest which is raising our issues that we want the government to give attention towards. We are doing that respectfully, and we do not expect any reactionary approach in terms of the police force in dealing with our student leaders when they are doing so.
And how sustainable is the stay away, Lukhanyo? Because as things stand, the academic year has had to be reworked because of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. You've got students who've been able to register, and I'd imagine some of them would like at some point to resume lessons. How much longer can you continue with this strategy? Are you even considering a change of course, a change of tactics, if you will?
To be honest to you, for as much as there is no commitment, we are committed to continue with this struggle, because the very same students that you are mentioning are the very same students that we're fighting for. So they will be the beneficiaries of this process. So to say that we start a struggle and then we leave it in between, that would be a very wrong of us, because history will really absorb us on the wrong side.
Final question, TVET students, we just played a story before coming to you where TVET college students were saying to eNCA, you know, this is not just a university struggle, they too are affected. How inclusive is your campaign as far as they are concerned? Are you mobilizing at their campuses as well?
You would remember that the South African Union of Students primarily deals with the SRCs within universities. There is a structure which is called SAFETA, but the struggles of TVETs are the struggles that the students in universities are facing. But now what we need from the TVET sector is the TVET sector itself must be able to organize itself behind the challenges that they're facing. Remember, because we can't really define the challenges of TVET sector better than the people who are in that space. So we've been calling on to the structures who are in the TVET sector, particularly SAFETA, the Union of SRCs and all the TVET colleges, to ensure that these matters, when we are raising these issues from the university side, they also do the same so that we don't champion selective struggles, but to combine our efforts so that at the end we are all the beneficiaries of this process.
Lukhanyo Daweti with the South African Union of Students, good to speak to you tonight, sir. Thank you.